What's up, guys? George Belecci here. I'm in for Travis Thomas on Hold My Banner. But if you wanted to catch everything Patriots, check out the latest episode of Foxborough Rush. We discuss the turmoil that now surrounds Gerard Mayo as the head coach of the Pats and how hot his seat is. That's Foxborough Rush, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, wherever else you like to listen to your podcasts. All right, it's Hold My Banner. Let's get it started. George Belecci here in for my main man, Travis Thomas. I'm with the walking, talking, triple-double by way of L.A., Ountae Campbell. Tay, how we doing today, my man?
I'm doing good, man, and I'm doing good because the Celtics are winning. They're dominating. What I really am doing good about, George, is this news, that Bronny James has reportedly, this is just, this is what the streets are saying, George.
The streets are talking.
His jerseys have sold over 500,000 units, and he's made the Lakers over $50 million just so far this season. George, how do you feel about that? Because I know you like, Bronny shouldn't really be. It's looking like he's earning his keep, dog.
Earning his keep would be being an impact player. At the bare minimum on the G League, bro, is getting better. The jerseys will sell. This is the world we live in, man. Who's buying them? Who do you think's buying them?
Kids.
Kids dancing, 14 years old. And
this is a frat house special right here.
Hey, bro, respect it all the way. If you're selling jerseys because you built up yourself to be that big, I get it, man. If you are resonating with that demographic, who's the future of America, by the way, in the world,
yes,
good on you. But impact doesn't translate to jersey sales for me. Or jersey sales don't translate to impact. But, hey, it's a business, bro.
It's a cash business, dog.
It's a bottom line.
That's all the NBA is. It's a business, dog. And he's making money for the team in the league. So he's going to be in the league and on the Lakers. That's how it goes, dog.
If you're going to go to L.A. for the holidays. When you're home, how many Bronny James jerseys do you think you're going to see?
Too many. Too many. I told you, frat house special, dog.
Yeah. That's it. You're right.
Frat house special, dog.
You're right.
On that USC campus?
Yes.
Hey, that jersey is going triple platinum right now.
What was a frat house special for you with jerseys?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think back in the day, it was definitely a Vancouver Grizzlies jersey. Yeah. Probably like a Bibby, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like a Mike Bibby. That was probably a frat house special back when I was in college.
I got my Scottie Pippen 94 All-Star game. Mm-hmm. Arizona Cactuses on it. I did have a throwback white Jazz jersey, John Stockton.
Yeah.
That's in the trash now.
Okay, you're talking about for yourself. For me, it was a Michael Redd jersey.
Nice.
A throwback Michael Redd.
Oh, yeah.
Milwaukee Bucks.
Yep.
22 with the purple and green. That was definitely one for me.
All right, now we're talking jersey sales. Let's talk with someone that's just lapped everyone in her league, in Caitlin Clark. I'll bring you back in a moment after this. But it's been a while since I've hosted Hold My Banner. And in that time, since I've last hosted Hold My Banner, Caitlin Clark has been named the Times Athlete of the Year. Congrats to Caitlin Clark, because I think there was no bigger sports star in the year of 2024 than Caitlin Clark. And that's what this magazine and that's what this award and this recognition is for. Now, this has only been happening since 2019. So the others that have won it, LeBron James, Simone Biles, Aaron Judge, Lionel Messi, and the entire U.S. women's national soccer team. That was back in 2019. The first time Times Magazine gave out this award and did this cover. Now, Caitlin Clark, if you don't know, helped propel women's basketball to new heights and basically a whole new galaxy in 2024. She broke the NCAA's all-time scoring record, men's and women's all-time scoring record during her time at Iowa. She won Player of the Year in college from 4 different type of committees her senior year at Iowa, which finished up in 2024. She did all this while taking Iowa, a non-power in college basketball on the women's side, to its second straight national championship appearance where they fell to South Carolina and Dawn Staley and one of the best college basketball teams in the history of the sport. She took a non-power to the national championship for her second year in a row. That's what she did in college. In the WNBA, won Rookie of the Year, set the single season WNBA record for assists in a season. Player, not just for a rookie, for a player, while finishing 7th in scoring, and took the Indiana Fever, who hadn't been in the playoffs since 2016, who won a combined 18 games its 2 prior seasons before drafting Caitlin Clark #1 overall, to 20 wins and a playoff berth. But this isn't why she's won Times Athlete of the Year. It's not because she led Iowa to another national championship game. It's not because she took the Indiana Fever to the playoffs. It's because of her impact on the sport of basketball. Caitlin Clark was the biggest star in basketball in 2024. Caitlin Clark was the biggest star in sports in 2024. Roll your eyes at me. There are tens of millions of people that agree. Because of Caitlin Clark, LSU, Iowa's rematch in the Elite Eight in last March Madness, this past one in 2024, Angel Reese of LSU against Caitlin Clark of Iowa, the two biggest stars in college basketball this past year, drew the second largest audience ever for ESPN broadcasting a basketball game. 12 million viewers. Iowa, UConn, Final Four, 14 million people watched. Iowa, South Carolina, the national championship, 18 million people watched that game. As Dawn Staley said, after winning her third national championship as the head coach of USC, South Carolina that is, a six-time WNBA All-Star herself, quote, she said, "I want to personally thank Caitlin Clark for lifting up our sport." Our sport is what Dawn Staley's talking about. Her sport, Caitlin Clark's sport, not my sport, women's basketball, which is really important, the level she's taking it to. The WNBA draft. The record viewers were 600,000 people in 2004. 2024, 2.4 million people watched it to watch Caitlin Clark, Camila Cardozo, Rakia Jackson, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, all get their name called and all enter the WNBA. 20 years later, 2.4 million viewers. The previous record was 600,000. It's not just breaking that record, it's doing more than quadrupling it, and that's what she's done. The Indiana Fever, where Caitlin Clark went, hadn't been in the postseason since 2016, appeared in the 6 most watched WNBA games on ABC, CBS, ESPN, ESPN2. Sky Fever were 3 of the 6 most watched games. Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky and Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever. 2.3, 2.2, 2.2, 2 million, 1.7 million, 1.6 million. Those are the 6 highest rated games this season in the WNBA. The WNBA hadn't seen a viewing audience average of over 1 million viewers since 2008. That happened 23 times her rookie season. Caitlin Clark played in 20 of those games. A lot of viewership numbers here, but that's eyeballs on the game, and that's marketing, and that's what matters to these leagues. The Fever broke the WNBA record for attendance by a single franchise over the course of a season. Last year, again, after being the worst team in the league, that's why they're picking 1 overall and took Caitlin Clark. Mystics Fever, the season finale, they moved it to where the Wizards play in an NBA arena and had an attendance over 20,000 people. That set a WNBA record. That was the final game of the Mystics season. They went 14-26 and missed the playoffs. One more time, guys. The Indiana Fever hadn't made the playoffs since 2016 until Clark arrived and took them to 20 wins. 31% of the Mystics' home attendance from last season were in the 2 games they hosted the Indiana Fever. Why do I have to list this all out? Because I know you guys are listening going, George, I've watched her. I've seen her. I've watched the games. I now pay attention to the WNBA. Why do you have to list this all out? To credit her for being Times Athlete of the Year. Well, Sheila Johnson, the owner of the Mystics, said that the entire league should have been on the cover. The entire WNBA, not the Indiana Fever team, not the rookie class, the entire league, not just Caitlin Clark. She said it's a draft of players that have come in and made this impact, saying you can't pin success on one player. If you see what the ratings have been in college, the draft, the games, the sold-out arenas, which benefited you, Sheila Johnson, you know why those people are coming. It's not for a 14-26 Mystic squad. It is for Caitlin Clark, who, by the way, over the course of that, had a really rocky start to her rookie season, but made that second half push to making the postseason. It was also the storylines. It was more than her game. It was what she was doing with this squad. She looked overmatched. She looked just simply too weak for the WNBA. She looked challenged. She looked human. And then the game slowed down for her. And she was breaking single game assist records, single season assist records, while being the 7th best scorer in the WNBA, and her teammate was the 8th best scorer in the WNBA. Sheila Johnson added she doesn't want the league's momentum to be stunted because they're putting everything on Caitlin Clark. Now, Johnson's issue is how the media portrays race and covering the WNBA, and I'm not going to disagree with that. Just look how Angel Reese was spoken about going back to her LSU days and still now. Look how Kennedy Carter was spoken about after she fouled Caitlin Clark, which wasn't a basketball play, should have been a flagrant one, was a dirty play, But the way that they talk about those same type of plays, and even worse in the NBA compared to how Kennedy Carter was being spoken about, can't disagree with Sheila Johnson there. There's a political layer in all of this. Caitlin Clark is the great white hope that people that don't care about basketball, definitely don't care about the WNBA, don't care about sports, want to cape for her because she's white, and we know the political climate we live in now, where people will act like they're ready to die for Caitlin Clark. But before Sheila Johnson made any of these comments on the news, because this Times article was putting out, this is what Caitlin Clark said in print in the article. I want to say I've earned every single thing. But as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing. Caitlin Clark is talented. She's charismatic. She's aware. She's selfless. She's young. That's everything a league wants in a future superstar. But let me emphasize how aware she is, because she's asked about this all the time. She gets dragged into sports debates that she has no part in being in or wants to be a part of. But she always just kills with kindness. She always is the bigger person in the situation, the more mature person in the situation, the smarter person in the situation. She knows her white privilege, which again, doesn't necessarily make your life any easier, but when you're white, like me, when you're white, your life is not any more difficult because of color of your skin. We can't say the same for black people, for anyone of color. Their life is difficult just because they walk into a store because of the color of their skin. They're treated different, looked at different, spoken about different. That's a fact. That is a truth. And Caitlin Clark is aware of that. So to the Sheila Johnsons who own WNBA teams, to the Cheryl Swoops who have been a pioneer of this league, but have just put out flat out lies about statistics, about Caitlin Clark's success in college, and even the same thing of shooting her down in her success at the WNBA. To the Lisa Leslies, the household names before this league was even known, saying that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese should share the Rookie of the Year award. This isn't a superstar in Caitlin Clark. She is the sun right now. She can be the sun. But the stars around her, the Asia Wilsons, the Breanna Stewarts, the Sabrina Ionescu's, the Arika Ogunbowales, the Nafisa Colliers, and more and more and more. She's not trying to outshine them. She's pulling them with her. She's pushing them above her. Asia Wilson is a 3-time league MVP. She was coming off back-to-back WNBA championship title runs. And in her matchups with the Fever, those were some of the highest rated games again. And she champions her. Caitlin Clark isn't coming in as a rookie, arrogant, with an ego, not even overconfident, where she's trying to overshadow everyone around her. She wants them to be championed and wants them to be on the stage with her. Every accomplishment, every ounce of praise, every milestone she has hit as just a rookie, instead of being celebrated, like we've seen for the LeBrons, the Serenas, the Simone Biles, the Patrick Mahomes, instead of being celebrated, even in the league, it's met with, yeah, but, well, actually, she's great. She's great for the league. She's great for the sport. She's great for young girls out there looking for someone to look up to. And she's great for the people that have come before her and built up this league, and the people that are in the league with her right now that have been doing it. Because as she gets better and those tens of millions of viewers watch the game, that starts to bring a quality to the sport when it comes to compensation, when it comes to marketability, when it comes to eyeballs. Selling out arenas isn't just happening. This isn't fake. It's happening because of Caitlin Clark coming into the league, but people are sticking around. They're tuning in for Caitlin Clark, and then they're watching an Asia Wilson player on the other end of the floor. They're watching her take on the New York Liberty, which was one of the 6 highest rated games. And they're seeing a Breanna Stewart, a Jonquel Jones, a Sabrina Ionescu, and they're staying locked in for that. Instead of the well actuallys, just say yes. Because again, putting her on the cover of Times Magazine isn't putting down anyone in the WNBA. This is elevating her over the Victor Wembanyama's, over the Juan Sotos, over the LeBron Jameses, the Jason Tatums, the Jaylen Browns, the Luka Doncic's, over the Patrick Mahomes. Honestly, over the Travis Kelce's, who's probably the biggest name in the NFL right now because he's dating Taylor Swift. It's putting her above them. And that's what the WNBA needs right now. Let's bring my boy Tay back in. It's been a minute since I've been on the show, Tay, so I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, man.
Anything you think about that? Am I right? Am I wrong? And you know me, we're boys. You could call me out. But that's just where I feel whenever there's this Caitlin Clark conversation. And after she was named it, Tay, I joked to you. I go, is anyone saying that she should be sharing the cover? And then a few days later, I see the Sheila Johnson clip, and I'm like, come on. I feel bad for Caitlin Clark at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right about what you said about most of the things about Caitlin Clark. I think that she's a great light for this league. She, along with other white players who are going to be in this league like Paige Becker, actually pay respect and homage to the black women that came before them that helped prop up this league and built this league to a point where they could come in and, Paige eventually come in and make this league even better than it was before. And even the other black athletes are coming as well that are going to continue to prop up the league as well. JuJu Watkins is coming, you know what I mean? And she's going to be, like I've said, I think Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are Bird and Magic. I think JuJu Watkins is Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
She's coming to take over the league and take what Caitlin's doing and take it to an even bigger level. So I love that Caitlin is getting this honor because she honestly deserved it. She is the best athlete that we had in 2024. The things that she's done for the WNBA, the sport of women's basketball, the sport of basketball in general is generational. So she deserves this award and this honor. And in this instant, I do think that Times got it right here. What I do want to say is I want to take an opportunity to prop up some of those black women that she was talking about propping up. Just today, as we're recording this, Asia Wilson has signed a 6-year contract with Nike, which was reported by Shams, and it's one of the biggest contracts for women's basketball and biggest shoe deals for her. So a shout out to her for that extension. She's been a great light for this sport as well. And then I want to go back to the JuJu Watkins and back to the Dawn Staley, which you talked about, and how they're investing into Unrivaled, which is insane that JuJu Watkins, a sophomore in college, who won't even be in the WNBA for another 3 years, already has enough NIL dollars, which shows you what kind of superstar that she is, that she can invest with Dawn Staley, Giannis, Michael Phelps, match their pocketbooks, and bring up Unrivaled women's basketball and their 3-on-3 that they're going to be playing in a couple years or in the next year or so, which is insane as well. So shout out to JuJu, shout out to Asia Wilson. They're doing big things. There are a lot of other WNBA players that are doing a lot of big things outside of Caitlin Clark, and I want to be able to prop them up as well. Yeah,
I love that. That's awesome for Asia Wilson. I mean, she's one of my favorite players to watch in the league. We've had it ad nauseum. We had the convo like, bro, she's the MVP. Let's face it. Like, she's going to get it again. Third MVP she's won of her career, as she was going for her third straight WNBA title. What it is with Caitlin Clark, like, it's also her game. It's like she's the Steph Curry when it comes to her game, where it's relatable. Like, someone like you can dunk. I can't even dream of dunking, but I know how to shoot a basketball. So to see someone shoot a basketball at that clip is absurd. I'm not saying I'm as good, but it's just a relatability. You can shoot a basketball. She's not the biggest. She's not the strongest. She's not the most athletic.
Yes.
But she's very skilled. When a JuJu Watkins comes into the league, that's Jason Tatum 2.0, bro.
Yeah.
The ball, she never picks up her dribble. She's so dangerous. And I feel like I'm even talking down her game to only say it's Jason Tatum meets James Harden.
Right.
In the best way possible.
Yeah.
So with Caitlin Clark laying down this path with the viewership, with the shoe deals that are coming in now, when JuJu Watkins moves on from USC and moves into the WNBA, man, she is such a good player.
Man.
The money's going to be there. And it's because of someone like Caitlin Clark, how accomplished she is, the eyeball she gets, but how respectful she is of everything too. She's laying down her own foundation. The great black players that have come before her have laid down the foundation of the WNBA. It's still a very young league.
Yeah.
Now she's laying down the foundation of the next step for it to no longer be, in the WNBA to the WNBA. That's it.
Yep, that's it. They're a respected league, and she's helped mold that outlook on the league, you know what I mean? Where it's not just like, it's the WNBA. You ask people on the sidewalk would they rather their WNBA team win a championship or get $5. You're not hearing those questions anymore, because those were disrespectful at the time, and they're disrespectful now, and people know it, and that's why you don't hear it anymore.
I remember growing up, like, my cousin would randomly ask me. I mean, I had to have been maybe in college at this point. And he was like, would you ever do sidelines for, like, women's basketball? And I was like, yeah, bro. Now, I covered Seton Hall basketball, which is high level. I covered the Big East. I'm like, that's high level basketball. But I was so confused. I'm like, like on ESPN, like, you know, my dream jobs. Yeah, it's basketball.
Yeah.
It's good basketball. And that's what it's becoming. The timing of the stardom couldn't be great. And the timing of the star power throughout the league as well. That's what it goes to. Highest selling jersey is Caitlin Clark. Also, the Caitlin Clark effect, like you're saying for Bronny.
Yeah.
Kate Martin, her teammate from Iowa, who's a rookie as well. She was top 5 in jersey sales as well.
Right, yeah.
Caitlin Clark effect, just be around her, man.
Yeah, 100%. All right, tell the people where they can find some more about women's sports, dog.
Yeah, if you want to hear more about women's sports, check out the latest episode of Respect Her Game. From Simone Biles to Caitlin Clark to all the top stories in sports, we got you covered on Nesson's Women in Sports podcast, Respect Her Game. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever else you get your podcasts. And if you're watching on Nesson's YouTube page, hit the subscribe button as well.
All right, GB, now it's time to switch it over. I got to talk a little bit about this Celtics team before I move on to the next topic. I just got to recap and let everybody know how I was feeling. Now, they played the Wizards. They beat the Wizards. All expected, all encompassing. What I'm more worried about is this KP injury. Now, It's not the same. He had a right heel injury. It's not the same leg as the ankle that he had surgery on this summer. But at the same time, it is a little worrying that they keep having these nagging injuries and a little bit of here. He had to exit the game. People weren't sure if he's coming back. Now, I think he'll be back soon. I think he'll play in this game that they have on Thursday. But will this continue? Will this continue to be a pattern for this team where guys are continuously missing time? I thought after they got this little break from the NBA Cup where they're playing only 3 games in about 2 weeks or a week and a half, a little bit of a slower pace, that this would be a good time for guys to rest up. But we're seeing that him and maybe some other guys are missing games still here and there, and that's making me a little worried for their championship prowess.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. Now, a team that I am really, really worried about is the Golden State Warriors.
Yikes.
They have been struggling, George.
Man.
They started out the season 12-3. At one point, they were the number 1 team in the West after I came out and said I wouldn't be shocked if none of the teams in California made the playoffs. They made me look stupid for a couple of weeks there. And I'm not saying that I'm right because I want to see them do well because I love Steph and I love this team and I love what they could do when they are playing and clicking at the right level. But after their last 10 games, they are now 2-8 in their last 10, and it makes me a little nervous. We will have Dennis Schroeder hopefully playing in this game that they have on Thursday. But, George, what's going wrong with the Warriors?
I mean, you look at all their splits over this 10-game stretch. I mean, they have one of the worst defenses in the NBA. Defensive rating as a team is 113. Hield is fine on the perimeter as a defender. Podzminski is okay.
Yeah.
But if those guys are your 2 best defenders, when you have Draymond Green and Jonathan Kuminga, like that's what the worry is. And then if you go on the other end, the scoring hasn't been fantastic. They're the 3rd worst shooting team in the NBA. They're shooting worse than the Wizards right now. The no-win November Wizards. They're shooting worse than them. But when your leading scorers on the flip are Steph and Draymond, there's trouble. Now, we'll see. You bring up the addition of Dennis Schroeder. That's another ball handler, another playmaker, a good shooter because they need more than Hield and Steph from the outside. But this is a team where Steve Kerr comes out and goes, you know what? Can't wait to coach 12 deep, man. Can't wait to do it. We're going to be great. We're going to have a 12-man rotation. Of those 12 guys, you don't have dudes. You have Steph, who's still a guy. You have Draymond, who's okay, and you can't deny the IQ. And obviously what he does is more than the numbers. But this team as a whole, they can't get stops, and they're struggling shooting. And the NBA is a shooter's league, and they can't even hit from 2-point field goal percentage. And in the NBA, what it comes down to late in games, it's not just getting scores and buckets. It's getting stops. It's how many stops do you need to get back into the game and translate to a shot on the other side. It's just this stretch has been nuts. But when you look at it, Podzminski's fine, isn't shooting on the defensive side. Buddy Hield's fine on the defensive side, not fantastic at shooting over the stretch. It's who are your best defenders, who are your best offensive players, and you can't deny the coaching and all this too. Like Steve Kerr, you boast a 12-man rotation. You have a Jonathan Kuminga, but what are you going to do?
I mean, what is he supposed to do, though? He's starting Lindy Waters. Like, Lindy Waters shouldn't be starting in the NBA game, George. Like, no disrespect to Lindy Waters. He's a good NBA player, but he's a role player who should be coming off the bench.
If you told me that's someone your grandpa grew up watching, I remember watching Lindy Waters with the San Diego Clippers. Like, that's what it sounds like. Lindy Waters with the pitch and Babe Ruth takes him a yard. That guy's playing in the NBA in 2024.
And look, George, I'm not trying to disrespect Lindy Waters. I think he's a good NBA player. I think he's an effective player that can be part of a team that's a contender. Yeah. He just needs to come off the bench. So when he's forced to start a dude like this over periods and periods of time because certain guys haven't stepped up and to his fault, you're right. To his fault. He should have been playing Kuminga earlier on. Yeah. I said that years ago. He should have been playing Moses Moody more minutes early on. Yeah. He waited until Klay sucked. He waited until people got hurt to play these guys. Yeah. And now he's like, okay, you guys need to figure it out. Why aren't you further along? Why aren't you further along, Pods? Why are you taking this slump? Why are you taking this dip? Because these guys haven't been relied on for a long periods of time throughout their NBA career. And now you're expecting them to show up when they haven't been given those opportunities. Klay had to shoot. It was, don't shoot that shot. Klay shooting. Steph is shooting. Yeah. And I told them, and I sat there, and I probably tweeted it a million times saying the Warriors need to give in to the young guys because these old guys aren't going to win it for them anymore. They just waited too long to get there. So I'm with you. It is probably a little bit on Kerr, but you really can't blame him because this team is really kind of inept in a lot of different spaces. Yeah. They won early because it was early. They had some continuity, guys who have been on this team before. Yeah. A lot of other NBA teams haven't. And so they went out there and they played the Warriors way, and it worked. But the true shooting numbers have always been there, and it's finally catching up with them, which is why I think Dennis Schroeder is going to help out. George, do you think that was a good get by them?
I do. You need another ball handler. You need a playmaker. You need a guy that's shooting 37% from the outside. Like, you need another shooter. Yeah. Even to your point of, like, the Podzminskis and the Kumingas and however, like, Moses Moody, this is year 4 of him being in the NBA, and he's not playing more than 20 minutes a night. Yep. Boast about your depth, and you're playing all these guys. You're playing all these guys because none of these guys are guys. Like,
none of them are guys.
We knew what he was in college. Moses Moody was a good piece. Yeah. He fit in with this core here in the Warriors. It made sense in the system. But to your point, Ountae, nail on the head, dude. Yeah. Steve Kerr didn't let him come along when he should have. Yeah. There is coaching for the now, and there's coaching for the future. A Trace Jackson Davis, who could pair up really good with the Dennis Schroeder because of Schroeder in the pick and roll and how TJD gets downhill and is great at rim running and getting to the spot and is just a good athletic body. Like, they could pair up well together, but can they? Because is TJD stunted at this point? Yeah. They have these guys. Lindy Waters couldn't find the floor on the Thunder, and the Thunder are one of the deepest, best teams in the NBA. Nothing against him, but that shouldn't be your starter. No, I'm propping up Lindy Waters now.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm not going down on the guy anymore.
Right. Come on. But look, I'm with you. I think this was a great get by them, honestly. And I think people are, a little down on them. He hadn't played in that game on Sunday against the Mavericks, and I think he's going to play once again on Thursday when they play that game against the Grizzlies. Yeah. But I mean, you're adding a veteran. This is This has got to be his 10th, 12th year in the league at this point. He's played 11 years in the league. He's played for a myriad of teams. I mean, there's all these memes on the internet about him being a rainbow guy like Shaq, playing for every different jersey combination that's ever available.
Everyone he could find.
Right. Everyone's gotten a piece of Dennis Schroeder at this point. But he's played with the Nets, and I know a lot of people aren't sitting here watching the Nets, so I need to tell you his numbers. 18 points a game. He's shooting 50% from 2. 38% from 3.
Not terrible.
And 88% from the line. If you want to get your true shooting numbers up,
that's what you get.
A 50, 40, 90 guy like that who's flirting with it is a perfect guy to get who's averaging 18 a game. Yeah. This team needed somebody who was going to come off the bench and score buckets. Pods has not been that guy. Yep. Warriors Nation is almost over Pods. He's about to get traded for one of these guys that I'm going to name in a second, probably. But I don't think it's time to give up on Pods. But if you are giving up on Pods, having a point guard, a veteran who can score it and fill it up in every single place that he's been to along his NBA career is a good guy to get. I think that they should target B.I. And I'm going to ask you who you think they should target, but I think Brandon Ingram is a guy that the Warriors should try to go out and get. Yeah. I think that they do need more guys who can go get a bucket on their own. Mm-hmm. They don't have that guy anymore. When they were at their best, and I understand that it's Kevin Durant, and B.I. is not Kevin Durant, but the Warriors were really, really, really unstoppable when they had another guy who could just say, hey, you go get a bucket. Yeah. Steph was that guy at some point for them, too. where it was like, hey, I put the ball in your hands and you go get a bucket. If you watch a Warriors game, Steph is not trying to be that guy right now anymore. He's trying to run off screens. He does do it. He will take dudes off the dribble, but afterwards he's looking to facilitate. He's not looking to put up 50 a night. That's not who Steph is anymore. You need BI, and I understand the injury history, and I understand the New Orleans Pelicans weren't winning games, but that's not to this guy's fault. He's a 22 point per game guy. He's also shooting 51% from 2 range. Yeah. He's shooting 37% from the 3, and he's shooting 85% from the free throw line. What more can you ask for? This guy's going to come in and have a little bit of a reduced role, but if you have him, you have Steph, you have a way to keep Draymond, you have a way to keep Kuminga somehow in this, and you have a way to keep Andrew Wiggins, man, that 5 right there could be very, very deadly as far as length, as far as defensive prowess, as far as having every option to score. This is a small ball unit that they're basically going to have to lean into because they've not given up. They've gone away from Kevon Looney a little bit in recent years, and TJD is also a small ball kind of 5-man as well. Yeah. So with this lineup, they would be perfect. Yeah, I like that fit a lot. And it's just someone, like, you got to get a guy that you put the ball in his hands, he's going to go get a bucket. Yes. This would be a bigger package you'd have to ship off. But to your point of the Podzminskis and the Moses Moody's, who you're not using, and even the Jonathan Kumingas, who Steve Kerr never seemed to like during his time in Golden State, if you could trade young pieces like that and maybe you throw in a veteran and you look at Miami, and it's not just Jimmy Butler, but you get a Tyler Hero in a package in return too, where you get a guy, you're talking about true shooting numbers. I mean, Jimmy's 55% from the floor, 35% from 3, and he's not a three-point shooter, but he will put up 15 shots a night for you. Yeah. And you put the ball in his hands, he will get to the cup. The spacing won't be there, but then you get a Tyler Hero to add to that. That's where you're improving on the offensive side, and that's a guy late in the game. Now he's a lot older. Yes. That's a lot of age. Yes. So if you want to if you want to GM for the now, like Dunleavy's trying to do, and he's the window that Steph and Draymond still have, the championship window. Yeah. That's how you go with this championship window. Because what you have for the future is not the pieces for the future. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I can't do the Jimmy Butler stuff, dog. Like, I just can't. He's past his prime. I love Jimmy. He had a great game. His last game that he played, triple-double. He's playing basketball. They lost to the Pistons. Yeah. He had a great game. But I can't sit here and look at B.I., a 27-year-old. No, I get that. And say, I'd rather have Jimmy Butler. I understand that B.I. doesn't have the winning that Jimmy Butler has. He hasn't won at that level. Not to say that Jimmy Butler's won an NBA championship or anything of that note, but he's at least been to the finals. Yeah. B.I. has never been there. So I understand that, a guy who's further along in his development. But I think that the Warriors have to kind of protect themselves for now and the future. Maybe their championship window is close. I already said that it did a couple of years back. I was already on that train that when they won that championship against the Celtics, that year, going into that year, I said the Warriors are winning the championship, and then after that, that's it. And so I think their championship window is close. If you get a guy like B.I., though, that can help extend it a little bit longer, because we know Steph is probably going to play until he's 42, just because he doesn't need to use his athleticism as much as other guys do. So I would like to see B.I. a little bit more, but I kind of respect your JB decision, but I'm not really rocking with it. Yeah, I mean, that's where B.I.'s got to be the priority one, like a young scorer like that. Yes. To be fair, you said, who do they get? I don't want to have an echo in this podcast. Yeah, so. That's fair. That's fair. Hey, you want to hear more about Boston sports? Check out Nesson's Daily Sports Podcast. Boston has entered the chat. You can enter the conversation by tweeting at us using the hashtag NessonChat or email thechat@nesson.com. That's Boston has entered the chat. Available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever else you get your podcasts. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button as well. All right, Tay. Yeah, you see the graphic, dog. We got win in 7, George. Thanks for the anxiety, bro. Let's go. Let's do it. So, look, you got 7 questions, and then after the 7th question, you get a final guess, but you get to see the silhouette before you get your final guess. Cool. George, can you guess the NBA player that I am thinking of? Let's start it out, dog. All right. Retired or active? This is a active NBA player. That was question number 1. This is where you and I butt heads. Is he active in the East or the West right now? He is active in the Western Conference. All right, that makes me feel like he's always been in the West, because you wouldn't tell me if he's whatever. He's in the Western Conference right now. Right, you're answering. Has he ever won an NBA title? This player has not ever won an NBA championship. That was question number
West
3.
Hasn't won a ring.
Yes.
Yeah, I got 3. Where'd he go to college? Where'd he play college ball?
I'm not telling you
You're
that.
never going to give me this one.
I'm going to tell you that he played in the pack, whatever it is, 2, 12, 10.
Well, wait, hold on. When he was playing, what was it?
I'm not giving
Let's
you
go
that
Pac-12.
one.
Let's go Pac-12.
Yeah, Pac-12, sure. That was question number 4.
I know. No NBA title. Was he ever this is what I have to go with.
Okay.
How many All-Star games?
Ooh.
How many times was he an All-Star?
Yeah, I'm going to have to count that one out. Let me see.
Okay, so it's multiple.
Yeah, it's multiple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-time All-Star.
Been in the league for a minute.
Yes, 10-time All-Star. That was question number 5.
How many All-NBA?
This is an All-NBA. Man, you're making me work today, George. Hold on. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 All-NBA nods. That was question number 6, by the way.
What position does he play?
This person is definitely a guard. Definitely a guard. That was question number 7.
Hold on. Do I get a guess before I get the silhouette?
I mean, if you want to guess before the silhouette, I guess I'll give you a guess before the silhouette. But that would kind of be a question in my mind. You know what I'm saying? But I'll give you a guess.
Russell Westbrook.
That is incorrect. So can we show him the silhouette?
I didn't say all 4 letters.
Can we show him the silhouette?
Oh, James Harden. Come on.
That was too easy. All right,
I
James
gave him the real
Harden.
name too. Hey, respect me trying to guess before the silhouette.
I do respect it. Congratulations. You got it right. James Harden.
Come on. UCLA, Arizona State.
Never
won a title.
Never won a title. A lot of no
All-Star.
championships. A lot of All-Star nods. A lot of All-NBAs. It's fair. It is fair.
Russ was a 9-time All-Star.
Okay.
And then 9-time All-NBA.
Yes.
7 All-NBA, 10. Yeah, I was close. All right. Hey, that silhouette made it too easy. I'm happy I got that Russ guess after, though.
Look, bro, so the reason I have to bring up James Harden is, one.
Oh, God.
I don't know, because you always like to call him Jimmy, so I have to make sure that you respected this man. First of all, he scored 24 points in the first quarter of a game the other day against the Jazz.
Nice.
Outscored the entire Jazz team, 24-20. Outscored the entire Jazz starters, 24-7. And then he scored 40 points in the game, George, which is his 103rd time scoring 103.
103rd time scoring 40 or more
40 or more points. Only Wilt, MJ, and Kobe have more than him. So shout out to him for that. And then I also wanted to get your thoughts on this. A little wicked or kick it action, but I just wanted to know how you felt. His 9th volume of his James Harden shoe with Adidas has finally came out. It was a game that he debuted these shoes in. George, how do you feel about these shoes?
I like them to ball in.
Okay.
I don't think they're that bad.
Yes.
So Adidas, if I hate on these, then I'm hating on the Ants, and I love the Ant Edwards shoes. This is where Adidas is going heavy with a lot of their guys. It looks like the Dames as well.
Yes.
And I like the gap, the 3 lines between the white and the black. So it's an homage to Adidas as well.
The 3 stripes.
I don't hate these, bro. These look good. This is where a lot of shoes are going. I saw the Tatums in the store the other day, the new Tatums. I'm like, these actually mess with these. I don't hate these Harden shoes, man.
Yeah, they kind of remind me of foam posits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it has to be the foam posit.
Yeah.
You think Wale's gonna cop a pair of these then if they remind him of the foam posits?
Yeah, Wale loves this Adidas too. Didn't he rock the Anthony Edwards ones the first time they came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still like an old head of wearing hoop shoes, but out.
Yeah.
We both came up during that time. Wearing foam posits out. You'd wear the LeBrons out to a party with a pair of jeans, just looking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you like those Harden 9s?
Yeah, I like those Harden 9s. I would definitely rock them. I think years down the line, I might rock them out. You know what I'm saying? I think you have to have some separation from when the player is wearing them to when I can wear them to go out in, So I like these, but, I wouldn't wear them out right now.
What's your all time? What was your favorite shoe that you hooped in? I would have to guess. When you were playing at UTEP or Fresno.
That's a tough one. Probably Kobe 8s. I feel like Kobe 8s were probably one of my favorites to hoop in.
Yeah. I think Kobe's are such solid shoes, man.
Yeah, bro. I love Kobe 8s. I love Kobe 10s when you wore them straight out the box too. The lows, those were great. But yeah, probably 8s.
I think I have a pair of Kobe's. I got to find out which ones they are. Shout out my cousin Swish with the hookup. But same thing, like all-time shoes whenever I played in. Again, I'm not good. And I don't disrespect Kobe by wearing them when I play pickleball now. But like I've worn the Kobe's hooping for like hours on end. I'll wear the Giannis's to play pickleball.
Yep.
Not the same. Not the same.
No.
Now, obviously, I'm not built like Giannis, so I got to get shoes from a guy that's built like me to an extent. Like a guard, like a Ja or a Drew or maybe the Sabrinas.
Yeah.
But I don't hate those Hardens, man. Maybe I'll rock those Hardens on a pickleball court.
You should. You definitely should.
Hey, the Red Sox offseason is heating up, and the rumors are starting to swirl. We know you have a lot of questions about the Sox future. So we asked the players, coaches, executives, and alumni those same questions on Nesson's Baseball Podcast 310 to Left. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get your podcasts. All right, Tay, we're talking Harden, man. Harden's old team. Sixers are looking good.
Yeah, surprisingly, I like the way that you say that. They won the last 5 out of their last 7, which is impressive for them. George, are they good? Are they going to make the playoffs? What are we thinking here, dog?
I think they make the playoffs. It's going to be tough in the East, but if they get Maxey and Paul George all the way, and if they just know who they are, and they understand who they're going to have, I think that's a better way to go about it.
Yeah.
Paul George is still a very good two-way player. If he can be 70-game Paul George, I think they make the playoffs. Because Tyrese Maxey is one of the most electric players in the NBA and one of the fastest rising stars. Just ball behind those two. I don't know what you're going to get with Embiid. To me, and the way I talk about them is like, I'm not picturing Embiid in the picture, which is fine. You made a calculation. You decided to give him this big contract. You bought into Joel Embiid with all the injury history, with everything he was going through with his knee, playing in the Olympics, all of this. That's fine.
Yeah.
But when you put these three together, as people were saying, like, this is the best big three in the NBA, you have to go, hold on, because you have to take availability into account. On paper, the best big three, sure. But in reality, no, they're not, because they don't have the big three. They have one guy you know is going to show up. 2 would hopefully have another good season. I'm talking about PG 13 there.
Yep.
And the third, he's not going to be there. I think, yes, they'll make the playoffs. I'll get behind Maxey and Paul George. And I get in on this team, putting their blinders on and going, look, we're not going to have Joel. That's fine. We got these guys. Let's go get to the playoffs.
Okay, so if they're going to the playoffs, I won't give my answer just yet. I'm just going to keep asking you some questions.
Oh, okay,
if they're going to the playoffs, how high of a seed do you think they're ending up in the East?
Ooh.
I need a prediction.
Okay. When we did our preseason show, where did I have them fall?
I have no idea, dog. I have no idea. I didn't know how to rate them, honestly.
I think I had them a play. Yeah, you and I, like, we think a lot alike on teams like this. Like,
yes.
We know what they're capable of.
Yep.
I would put them as a play-in team.
Okay.
But you want a seed? I'll give them an 8 seed.
Yeah. I had them as a 5 seed originally.
Cool.
I'm looking at my notes. I had them as a 5 seed.
I got to try and find those.
Yeah.
I have them as an 8 seed, and this is me expecting the Bucks to deal Giannis, expecting the Heat to deal Jimmy, so then moves are made where the Sixers move up.
Giannis ain't going nowhere. Giannis not going nowhere. Bro. Stop with that, okay?
New York.
No, he's not. That's a pipe dream of you and Travis. Y'all are wrong. Y'all never agree on anything, but y'all agree on this, so maybe it will happen.
Yeah.
But no, it's not happening.
You and I are lock and step on so much.
Giannis is finishing the 2024 season as a Milwaukee Buck. But anyways, go ahead.
But with Embiid, man, the 3-year, $192 million contract, like, it's going to be hard to move it. I'll give Sixers. I will give Sixers. I'm basically saying they're a playing team. I give them an 8 seed.
Yeah, you're alluding to something that I kind of wanted to ask you again, so I'm going to keep going. Bro, is Embiid going to still be on this team at the end of the season?
Yes.
With the sinus fracture now and all this other stuff?
You cannot move that contract. We talk about Bradley Beal being an albatross. Yes. 3 years, $192 million. Who's going to take that on? With a guy that's only played in 70% of games the 3 seasons prior to this one, with everything he's doing now.
Hey, there's some teams that'll take 70%, dog.
Yeah.
I know New Orleans probably would. Zion ain't even giving them that. So New Orleans might take 70. That'd be the best player in their career.
Because New Orleans knows where they stand.
Besides Chris Paul.
Yeah, and New Orleans just needs base minimum attendance.
Yes.
So that's what can happen. Portland? What are you getting back?
I mean, they've dealt with that before. I think Portland's traumatized from Greg Oden. So I don't know if he's going out there.
I say you can't move him, and I don't think they do. But what do you think with Embiid?
I'm gonna. You know what? No, I'm standing on business. Let me sit up. It's time. 76ers fans,
Yeah.
it's time. You trusted the process, and the process has failed you.
Yeah.
He's giving you nothing. They haven't been to an Eastern Conference final in a long time. I think they've been the one, right, against the Toronto Raptors. Am I right, George?
Yep.
That was the one. Otherwise, what has he done? Nothing. All he's done is cry off the court, cry and complain about how he should win MVP. And don't get me wrong, at the time I thought he should have. But looking back on it, Nikola Jokic was a better NBA player then, and he is now. All he's done is get hurt and be made out of glass. Mm-hmm. We trusted the process. The process lied to our faces. The process is dead. It is over for Joel Embiid in 76er Nation. It's over for Joel Embiid in Philadelphia. You guys deserve better. You deserve a star who wants to play back-to-backs, who doesn't complain. And don't get me wrong, the injuries that he have all been real for the most part.
Yep.
Have all been real. But at the same time, you don't see Anthony Davis saying that he doesn't want to play in back-to-backs with his injury history. You never heard that from D. Rose. You never heard that from Steph Curry when they had issues. They played because it cared, and they mattered to them. At this point, it doesn't feel like Joel cares. He's punching reporters. He's whining to the media about whatever. He's showing up late to things. He's not being a good leader. He's not doing the things that he needs to be to lead 76ers Nation. It's time, 76ers, to get rid of Joel Embiid. That process is over. You've gotten rid of Ben. You've gotten rid of Harden. You've gotten rid of Jimmy Butler. Who else are you going to blame? Blame him. 21. Show up. It's time. Or get out. That simple.
It was the Eastern Conference semifinals when they fell to the Raptors.
So it wasn't even the finals.
Can't even make it to the conference finals.
Didn't even make it to the conference finals. And he's boo-hooing.
Yeah.
Sad.
Bro, he's going after Mitchell Robinson. He's foul baiting. All this. You said he's showing up late to some things. Remember Tyrese Maxey? Bro, you're showing up late to everything.
Everything.
That's not what you get from someone to give $192 million to. I'm with you. The best thing the Sixers can do, trade him, eat a lot of the money,
yes,
and get assets and get some players.
Yes.
You have Tyrese Maxey. Build around Tyrese Maxey. Get the draft assets to move up in the first round and get some lottery picks.
Hold on, George. I just need to say this, too, really quickly.
Preach.
Because the 76ers and Joel Embiid have me mad now. Now, their fans are excited because they've won 5 out of their last 7.
Yeah.
But who have you beat? And I know the last time that I said that, somebody was like, oh, the Rockets, they're this, they're that. They've beat this team, that team, whatever. The Warriors, they are this, they're that. But I'm really looking at it. You beat the Hornets. Oh, okay, congratulations. You beat the Pacers at home. We know they suck on the road because Farnsworth Bentley, a.k.a. Tyrese Halliburton, does not know how to show up on the road. You beat the Bulls. Congratulations.
Awful.
You split with the Magic without Paolo Banchero. Okay, congratulations. You beat the Pistons. Congratulations. And otherwise, you've been trash. Who cares? Who cares? I think that this team makes the playoffs because I think they're finally figuring out how to beat bad teams. That's what good teams do. They beat bad teams, the teams that are in front of them. I'm not saying that they're a good team, but I'm looking at these standings, and I can say, all right, they're creeping up there, right? They're getting towards, they're in the 12th seed right now. I will say they'll be in the play-in by the end of the year. I'll give them that. Maybe 7. They might even be that high, but that's it because the East is terrible. And so I'll give them the 7th seed. No higher than that.
I had him as a 5 seed too. I just found that. You and I both had Sixers finishing as a 5. We're barely having them get into the postseason. And you know what? What's starting to happen on their beating bad teams? They know Maxey's a guy. Give him the ball. Let him drop 40. Mm-hmm. You have a guy like Jared McCain off the bench who can give you 15, and he's been active in every game. But they're an 8-16 team, and to your point, like they're beating the Nets, they're beating the Bulls, they're beating the Hornets, they're beating the Pacers at home. Congrats, you're beating nobody.
Nobody.
But you do that, and especially in the East, you're going to squeak by and get in, man. I like the fire from Tay, man. I'm with, but like it's frustrating to watch, and I can only imagine for you, like you have played college basketball.
Yeah.
You had actual tangible dreams of getting a shot at the league, let alone being in a league.
Yep.
And if a guy that's gifted with everything, and bro, he doesn't want to play in back-to-backs, and he's saying that publicly, it's the same. You go back to last season. Well, who's going to dethrone the Celtics? The CBA, because it'll be a lot harder with the tax. It's like, bro, what? The easiest thing. you know what? We're coming for them. We're going to make pushes this offseason. We're going to make it happen.
And I like their offseason coming in. I did.
Yeah.
But it's Joel Embiid who's holding them back. That's it. I won't waste too much time on it.
Don't play in the Olympics. Rest your knee, man.
Yeah.
You like an Olympic gold medal in the grand scope of things. Whenever we're talking all-time hoopers, no, let me say this. When we're talking about all-time NBA players, how often is Melo brought up? He's not, but he's an all-time hooper. He's an all-time Olympic basketball player.
100%.
And no disrespect to doing what they do. Like Olympic medalists are 1% of the 1% of athletes in the world.
Man, facts.
But end of the day, your legacy will be tied to Philly. And if Philly is a city, you bring a ring to that, you're not an NBA champion. You're not an Olympic gold medalist. You are a god. They built a statue about their backup quarterback in Philly, the backup quarterback, because he had the biggest play in that game to win them a Super Bowl for the Eagles over the Pats. You bring a ring for the Sixers and beat everything you've been through?
Man.
Where the city at this point is just like, all right, I guess we got to defend them now. They're over it, man. How frustrated we are. Man. We're all the way up in Boston. We got zero ties to Philly.
Zero.
Imagine being a Philly sports fan.
Man, it's a tough one to watch. Look, George, before we get out of here, let's talk about these League Pass games that we want to watch. I got to give you the opportunity because you're not always on this show. Who are you picking? Which game are you watching on Thursday?
Let me go Thursday night, Pacers at Suns. What did you call Tyrese Halliburton?
Farnsworth Bentley.
I like that. Lindsey Waters a third. Yeah, bro. You and I, our Halliburton opinion has been the same, especially since he's showing in the playoffs. But it's not because of him. Offense, a lot of scoring. Andrew Nembhard and this Pacers, this fast-paced team. And it's KD and Devin Booker. Hey, what's the most important thing in basketball? Getting the ball, putting it in the bucket, scoring in the hoop. Yep. You got D-Book, you got KD, you got Nembhard, you got these guys. I'm watching this, bro. Late at night, this is how I'm going to bed, throwing on League Pass and watching Pacers Suns. I'm all for it.
Yeah, this is a good one to watch for sure. Look, I think that you should watch that one as well because I almost fought George over having to pick that game. He stole that game from me.
Yeah, I'm a jerk.
But I have another game that I'm really ready to watch, which is Warriors at Grizzlies on Thursday, and it's all because of this. Dennis Schroeder. I need to see what he brings to this Warriors team. Is this going to help them out? It's against a team that's number 2 in the West right now with the Memphis Grizzlies, a team that is kind of battled with the Warriors and have a similar mindset and a similar build where they play around their star point guard in a John Morant and a Steph Curry. So I'm ready for NBA action to watch those two go at it, and I'm ready to see more offense like George was talking about.
Hey, if Trav was hosting, you know what game he would pick, right?
Yeah.
Thunder Magic.
Yeah, because it's not on League Pass.
It's on TNT.
That's why. Yes, 100%.
Love you, T. Hey, Tay, thanks for having me back on, man. I'm George Belecci. He's Ountae Campbell. This is Hold My Banner. Hey, reminder, you want everything Patriots? Check out Foxborough Rush, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, wherever you like to listen to during your morning commute. Go to Spotify, Apple. You'll see all the Nessens podcasts, especially Foxborough Rush, which covers everything Patriots. But this is Hold My Banner. This is everything Celtics, everything NBA you guys need. He's Ountae Campbell. I'm George Belecci. Thanks for spending your time with us. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, everyone.
Peace.